Welcome back to the Hunter of Dividends YouTube channel. We're back here to talk about another dividend stock. Hope everybody's having a great week. And as we wind up the summer here, I know a lot of people's kids going back to school. Mine's first day was today. I hope everybody's doing well. And let's try to get into another dividend stock that could show some value for you. Remember, none of this is investment advice. Definitely do your own due diligence. But this is here to just try to help you guys with possible stock investments to grow your dividend passively. The passive income from dividends is just amazing. That's what my end goal is to just have more and more passive income. So if that's your goal, then just follow along. I appreciate everybody who subscribes, and subscribe to this channel. So let's get into today's. We're going to take a look at AbbVie. AbbVie here, down a little bit here today, trading here on August 17th. You see the 5-year chart, it's done well. The 1-year chart, AbbVie jumped up and now it's come back down quite a bit. You can see that on the 6-month chart where it got up to 175.91 and now we're back down to 141.82. So AbbVie is a stock that I've owned for a good while now. I started a position, wanted to keep adding little by little, and it jumped pretty nicely. So I kind of backed off the purchases with AbbVie. Certainly it's a good problem to have if stocks go up, but you always wonder if you should keep adding or not. Now that it's dipped back, thinking about adding some more AbbVie, even though it's a decent amount higher than my cost basis. So let's take a look at it first on Simply Safe Dividends. 3.97 dividend yield, almost 4%. Dividend safety score of 70, which is a solid score there from Simply Safe Dividends. And I love this service. If you don't use it, I definitely recommend it. It's up 32% since I purchased it. So my yield on cost is 5.26%. Keep in mind, yield on cost is really, really important when you're looking at dividend stocks, especially for the long run. AbbVie, Humira, certainly the thing that people talk about and it being an issue. But I think it is more than just a one-hit wonder here for AbbVie. The fears might be a bit overblown. The last 5 years, dividend growth is 18%. We see that it's 3.98% dividend yield here. The PE ratio is similar to its 5-year average. These pharmaceuticals do usually have a lower price to earnings ratio than the stock market as a whole. You do see that it is a good amount lower in its price to earnings ratio than is the healthcare sector in general. The earnings payout ratio, 42%. I think that's a really solid number. They say below 50 for biotechs. You can argue exactly what AbbVie is at this point, but certainly a healthcare stock with a solid payout ratio. Free cash flow, 43%, which I think is very good. Suggests that AbbVie should be able to weather any storm and continue to pay this dividend. Earnings per share, great growth here, as you see, just going up year by year. Free cash flow per share looks the same. Sales growth has been pretty solid. This could get a little bit noisy here in the future, but I do think that this is a good company, well-run company. Operating margins 35%, fantastic. Free cash flow margin 37%. Again, very good. Net debt is a bit high, and that's the problem for AbbVie. Why it's not an even higher score than 70 here for Simply Safe Dividend is their debt is pretty high. Net debt to capital 0.8, net debt to EBITDA 2.35. Interest coverage is about 8, which is right about where they want it to be or a little higher. So, this decent amount of debt. They've had very solid growth. This is a stock that has a beta of 0.30, so very low beta stock here. Interesting to note. Let's check over on Fast Graphs here to take a look at AbbVie. This is a historical look at AbbVie and exactly where it trades now compared to the averages. We're looking at operating cash flow here. I think cash flow is crucial for dividend investors. It is running below its average here as far as valuation, which is solid. Look at earnings, again, below the average. So would suggest that this is a decent buy at this point. If we look at sales, it's right about at its average price to sales ratio. So Here we're looking about average, but the others were looking pretty good. Let's look at forecasting here. So we forecast out sales. It is right at the price to sales that you would think it would be trading at. If you look at operating cash flow, far below the operating cash flow averages for AbbVie. And if you look at this, the rate of return would be 15% here over the next couple years. I know that would be very great by me or any investor. Got to be happy with 15%. So then you look at operated or adjusted operating earnings. We do see that there are some estimates that the analysts are a little bit unsure of what's going to happen with their earnings here over the next couple of years. So definitely do take these with a grain of salt. But this would be an annual ROR, a rate of return of 13.17%. Again, fantastic. If you look at long-term growth here, you'll see that AbbVie has consistently had long-term growth that's impressive. And this to me seems like a pretty safe stock. AbbVie, certainly they could have a rough year here or there, but if you're a dividend investor looking for a solid dividend stock here, yielding about 4%, I think you could do far worse than AbbVie. And I'm going to be watching this one as it trades here. If this one dips much further, I'm going to be buying some more AbbVie here for my portfolio. I have this one in my Roth right now. I like to put the higher dividend yields in a Roth to try to save there. I think that that's a great strategy too for investors, is to really utilize that Roth IRA with dividends, especially if it's a REIT. So keep that in mind as you go forward. But I like AbbVie. Let me know about your thoughts about AbbVie here in the comments below. And if you have any stocks you'd like me to cover, I'm happy to cover them. Look at them valuation wise and long term as far as the dividend growth and safety. I appreciate everybody tuning in. And everybody who gives us a thumbs up and subscribes, thank you. Also follow me on Twitter at Hunt Dividends. Hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll be checking out another dividend stock again soon.